Hi, I'm William with Apartment Renovation NYC. This video explains what is construction administration, how proper construction administration protects owners, occupants, and the public, and why it's critical in New York City apartment renovation projects. Many New York City property owners can't even begin to imagine how many different ways construction can go depending on the architect and the general contractor they retained. The meaning of construction administration and other definitions. Construction administration, or CA, is the final phase of a project, beginning when construction commences and continuing through project completion. During CA, an architect oversees construction for general conformance with contract documents. Self-certify. In New York City, this refers to the Department of Buildings Professional Certification, where an architect certifies that the plan they file comply with applicable laws, allowing permits to move forward without standard DOB plan examination, though filings can still be audited. Standard of care requires architects to perform with the skill and diligence ordinarily exercised by similarly situated professionals. Submittals documents the contractor submits, shop drawings, product data, and samples. During construction administration, an architect reviews submittals for general conformance with the contract documents before work proceeds. Request for information, or RFI, is a formal written request used during construction to clarify when drawings or specifications are unclear, inconsistent, or when site conditions raise questions. RFI document decisions and help prevent disputes. What does CA mean for apartment renovations in New York City? The CA abbreviation stands for Construction Administration, and understanding what does CA mean is essential for any property owner embarking on a renovation in New York City. What is CA in practice? It is the phase where an architect transitions from the drawing board to the construction site, actively overseeing that what gets built matches what was designed and improved. Frequently asked questions about construction administration. Is construction administration legally required? Yes. While contracts define scope, architects of record remain responsible for project compliance through completion under professional regulations. Can a general contractor make design decisions? No. Design decisions must be made by a licensed architect. How often should an architect visit the site? Frequency depends on project complexity, but periodic and milestone-based visits are essential, such as after demolition, after framing is installed, after fire stop systems are installed, after waterproofing is installed, etc. What happens if CA is skipped? The purpose of CA is to document if the renovation is being built per drawings, specifications, design directives, etc., issued by an architect. If this oversight is not provided, typical downsides are hidden non-compliance, long-term safety risks, cut corners, and ultimately unsupervised construction phase, which is rather scary to think of. CA phase is mandatory per the New York State Education Department, NYSED, and is a responsibility of every architect. Architects that do not provide CA services are simply negligent. What owners can expect during construction administration. Owners should expect a pre-construction kickoff meeting between an architect and general contractor, a reviewed and approved construction schedule by an architect, periodic site visits by an architect including well-written field reports, transparent documentation of revisions issued by an architect during the construction phase. And owners should question any architect's standard of care on a project where CA is minimized or not provided. What does an architect do during the construction administration phase? Conducted properly, standard construction administration protocols include a review of general contractors' submittals such as shop drawings, specifications sheets, or manuals for approval. Responding to a general contractor's request for information, RFI. Progress inspections tied to construction milestones, review of third-party special inspection reports, and identification of documentation of non-conforming work. When does construction administration go wrong? Fast-paced cities like New York City appear to have a plethora of architects that do not pay attention to this phase of the project, specifically on residential renovations. Commonly, an owner is experiencing a construction project for the first time that is not familiar with construction laws and protocols. Some architects and general contractors appear to take advantage of this situation, unfortunately. In this scenario, projects are poorly built as a result. Understanding construction administration helps owners recognize when this phase is being neglected. Some frequently situations are cosmetic work covers omissions by general contractors. For instance, a contractor covers fire-resistant joints with plaster and paint, not exposing work for a fire stop special inspection. A negligent architect or special inspector does not request to uncover the work for adequate inspection as CA protocols are not followed. Architects not diligent enough to oversee what is built based on drawings and specifications, while not requesting a general contractor to provide submittals for their review and approval. Architects self-certifying poorly prepared drawings to avoid the DOB, Department of Buildings, review. Architects with a tendency to be quick and easy on signing off projects while not delivering to the standard of care required in New York State. If an architect doesn't propose a kickoff meeting prior to construction, doesn't request CA protocol to be followed by a general contractor, and doesn't oversee construction, there's a high chance that the architect doesn't provide services to the standard of care expected. Next thing you know, the project is completed and ready for move-in to possibly unsafe conditions. The architect's legal and ethical responsibility in New York City. An architect's responsibility does not end when permits are issued. Professional obligations extend through project completion. Responsibility heavily relies on following and implementing in practice governing building codes, local laws and regulations, and professional licensing standards such as NYSED guidelines. An architect's own moral and professional ethics play the critical role in a project's well-being, since there is no protocol in place that reviews for accuracy of an architect's conduct to a degree that the project would not be possible to close if not properly delivered. This leaves plenty of room for architects to decide themselves on the level of professionalism without immediate consequences. Exposing an architect's negligence would occur if a project suffered life or property damage, or an investigation by the authorities having jurisdiction was opened after being reported. Example of a fire-rated wall noncompliance. Our office worked on a project in a Manhattan post-war multiple dwelling apartment building co-op in Kips Bay, where the general contractor did not install work per the architectural DOB approved drawing sets. Demising walls between dwelling unit and multiple dwelling buildings in New York City are required to be 1 hour rated per the New York City Administrative Code. The general contractor installed the bathtub and did not repair the fire-resistant rated wall as required. Our office did not approve this portion of work and brought the irregularities to the owner's attention. A project without an architect active on the CA phase would not have had a chance to be corrected. If an architect follows prescribed CA protocols, the room for discrepancies between what's been installed on site by general contractors and the drawings is minimized. On the contrary, if there is no presence of an architect during the CA phase, construction is most likely progressing in an unknown direction. Consequences of poorly executed construction administration. When CA is not properly provided, general contractors make design decisions beyond their qualifications. Non-compliant work goes undocumented and uncorrected. Owners unknowingly accept unsafe conditions, and industry standards erode over time. Our principal architect, Lenka Illich, would argue that there is an epidemic of architects not delivering their service to the standard of care, which has caused general contractors to be confused on what is required on their end, and consequently to start dismissing an architect's role on projects as a long-term habit. Contractors have even gotten to a point where they have coined the term filing architect, wherein an architect is solely believed to provide Department of Buildings approved drawings and is expected not to be involved during construction, which is a red flag. The side effects of this phenomenon of filing architect are jeopardizing owners and the public with life safety issues. followed by paying exorbitant fees to both architects and general contractors for services and work non-conforming with governing laws. Over time, general contractors tend to recommend their favored architects who will sign off closing inspection paperwork with no CA protocols implemented. This enables general contractors to move through a project without the oversight of an adequate architect, often implementing poor craftsmanship, making decisions that an architect should make, finishing projects fast, and pocketing clients' money for a project that could be in total noncompliance with approved drawings and governing laws. Benefits of proper construction administration. Why is construction administration important? A simple answer is quality of build and compliance with contract documents. Proper construction administration delivers measurable benefits: documented general compliance with drawings and specifications, clear records of materials and systems installed, ongoing architectural support for contractors, reduced risk of life safety issues, and long-term protection of owner investment. Construction administration creates accountability and clarity for all parties. If construction administration is not adequately provided by architects, life safety questions start surfacing, from fire protection to structural stability, waterproofing, and much more, depending on the specific apartment renovation project. To summarize, the construction administration phase is when contractors shall build per approved or amended drawings and specifications, contract documents, under the oversight of an architect. If this step is omitted, chances are high that the built project will not resemble what the drawings indicate, causing life safety concerns. The catch is that owners do not notice those irregularities themselves. What are submittals during construction administration? One of the most critical submittals for owners' understanding is construction schedule, a timeline that shall be estimated carefully by the contractor and provided for the owner's and architect's review and approval prior to work commencing. The schedule shall be updated every 2 weeks, delays recorded, and a 2-week look-ahead indicated. The construction schedule is a submittal that the GC shall provide to the architect for review and approval. Owners shall be protected against any delays through owner-contractor contract that an architect advises on. This is why it is imperative to retain an architect first, not contractor, for your New York City renovation project. The NYSED, New York State Education Department, defines the responsibility of an architect of record related to construction administration under Practice Guideline B11, shop drawings, submittals, and delegation. Quote, the design professional responsible for construction administration must review all shop drawings and submittals for their compliance with the contract documents. The design professional will generally use a stamp containing a signature block which he or she will sign or at minimum initial. An architect dismissing their own responsibilities during CA phase is unlawful. Well versus poorly executed construction administration. Poorly executed construction administration. General contractors begin to assume, after working with architects who provide no adequate CA, that construction administration on a contract is just a formality, and that they are responsible for design decisions themselves during construction phase. Clients are satisfied with faster, cheaper work, unaware that it is non-conforming with contract documents. Low expectations for the CA phase distort industry protocols and cause unsafe conditions. Architects who want to perform CA face heavy pushback from general contractors and sometimes owners, as they are compared to architects performing minimal or no CA services. Well-executed construction administration. Complete legal documentation on the record of materials and systems installed, photographs, site visit reports, and email correspondence. General contractor installs under the oversight of an architect as opposed to having no accountability for what is being installed. Available architect support during construction for the general contractor to consult with. General contractors are prevented from developing a habit of deciding on matters they are not qualified to advise on. Life safety risks are minimized over the life of the project. Final thoughts. Construction administration is a commitment to safety, quality, and professional accountability. Construction administration is not an administrative formality. It safeguards life safety, code compliance, and project integrity. When construction administration is skipped or poorly executed, owners inherit risks they did not knowingly accept. Well-executed CA requires coordination, professionalism, and ethical commitment. When done correctly, it protects everyone involved. If you are planning to renovate, schedule a consultation with us at Apartment Renovation NYC. Initial consultations are complimentary. Links are below.